Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. What is going on? These nations are selling gold from their reserves. Let's explore! Indeed, we are seeing this occur, and it is alarming a bit. When we think about it, why do people sell gold? The same reasons why nations sell gold, or vice versa, typically because they're in trouble. Because gold is a safe haven. And in other words, it's something to protect you against economic instability. And perhaps that could be some of the reasons why some of this gold is being sold off. We've seen the images of gold stored up in safe houses here on pallets and the like, and that's exactly what's happening until they need to be sold off. And but there's at least one case where gold is being sold for an unusual reason. However, it does make sense. We'll get into that here in a moment as we explore an article here from Kitco News about central banks selling 6 tons of gold in February. For the second consecutive month, central banks were net sellers of gold in February, according to the latest report from the World Gold Council. In a report published Tuesday, the World Gold Council said that on balance, 6 tons of gold flowed out of official reserves in February, as activity was dominated by just a few central banks. Despite a cumulative decline of 18 tons a year to date, global gold reserves remain above 35,600 tons, which is their highest level since 1990, the analyst said in a report. So there it is. So really, there's still a lot of gold left in these reserves. So the World Gold Council said that Uzbekistan was the largest seller in February. It decreased its gold reserves by 22 tons to 339 tons, the lowest level of gold holdings since December of 2020. However, the WGC said that the precious metal still represents a significant portion of the central bank's reserves, and central banks usually hold gold, other foreign exchanges, and cash, and anything valuable they've got in their coffers there. And yes, many nations in that area, by the way, believe in gold and store it up. Turkey is another example. We'll get to that nation in a moment. Even after the sale in February, gold reserves still account for 59% of total reserves, the analyst said. Other central bank sellers include Kazakhstan, which sold another 5 tons in February, following a 17-ton sale in January. Qatar sold 6 tons of gold in February, Mongolia sold 1 ton, and Germany sold 1 ton. However, the World Gold Council speculated that Germany's sale was related to coin minting. So there you go, a little unusual but not necessarily surprising. So they must keep their gold reserves in the same place that they have their gold for minting coins. But it doesn't really give any reason why these other nations would sell their gold unless they might be in trouble. But I would think that, yes, we know that there's outflows and inflows into some of these central banks, that now would be the best time to hold on to your gold, considering what is probably going to be happening soon in terms of a reset of the entire system, the Great Reset, which will affect those nations as well. But nonetheless, let's get into Turkey. The report said that Turkey dominated the market on the buy side, adding 25 tons to its gold reserves in February. The World Gold Council said that Turkey has increased its gold reserves by 35 tons so far this year, representing 27% of total reserves. At the same time, India bought 2.6 tons of gold in February, taking its total gold holdings to 758 tons. Meanwhile, Ireland, the only active developed market buyer, added 1 ton of gold to its reserves. You may remember I posted a video not too long ago about Ireland selling its first bullion bar. And I've not yet to see those in the community or know where you can get them outside of Ireland, but nonetheless, Pretty exciting, pretty interesting. And Turkey, as you know, as I've covered on this channel many times, they have a very large per capita holders of gold. The people of Turkey believe in gold because they have been burned so many times by their currencies. And it is encouraging to see more and more people accumulate gold here in the United States and across Europe as well too. People are seeing what's coming, and it's not good. As to what level of not good that is going to be, that is up for debate. But more than likely, we are going to see, even as admitted to by our Secretary of the Treasury, that we are going to see inflation for at least another 11, 12 months. So it's a good idea to hold on to gold. And I think it would be a good idea for nations to do the same. But if you are an individual watching this video, I would encourage you that if you are holding gold, to hang on to it. Although central banks have been net sellers of gold in the first 2 months of 2022, analysts at the World Gold Council have said that they expect central banks to ultimately be net buyers of gold. Yeah, especially if they see what's coming. I guess that is a good signal. According to many economists and market analysts, there's a new focus on central bank reserves. Russia's war with Ukraine has created significant geopolitical uncertainty, especially in that region. You look at the neighboring nations around Belarus and Russia, and many of them are very, very concerned. In fact, there is a talk that maybe Norway might get a fast track into NATO. We'll see what happens there, but nonetheless, it's having an effect, and people are thinking about gold in those nations. Many analysts have said that long-term gold remains an attractive asset for central banks looking to diversify away from the U.S. dollar, and that's another on the other side of it. That is certainly something that the BRICS nations are certainly interested in, and nations like Iran probably should be holding gold. You don't hear much about Iran's gold reserves, probably because they don't make it public. And who knows about North Korea? By the way, we don't know if they have gold or if they hold gold. It'll be interesting to find out. Some economists have said that it will take decades before the U.S. dollar loses its dominant status, as it currently represents about 60% of global reserves. And you heard me talk about that before, and that's an important point. And I am of that same mindset, that the dollar should not be written off yet. Just because Saudi Arabia is talking about trading oil for the yuan, the renminbi in China, does not mean that the dollar is going to lose its dominance. It represents 60% of global reserves and transactions between those nations as well too. A lot of things are still transacted in dollars. So that is something that is something that is not going to be very easily taken away, which is why modern monetary theory can persist. That's exactly why modern monetary theory can persist, because there's nothing really keeping the dollar away, because it represents so much of the world's reserves. And when you think about that, gold being what it is and what it has been for thousands of years, nothing can change that either. But the dollar has set itself up for dominance around the world. And so it'll be very interesting to see how things play out. Now, obviously, the holders of those reserves are not happy with what the United States is doing. But what can they do about it? Really, when you think about it, there's not much they can do, because their currencies are not doing so hot either. In fact, in many cases, even worse, mainly because they have those reserves on hand. So their currencies so they're essentially backed by the dollar as a mainstay, as a tier one asset, especially. And of course, gold is too. But if I were one of those nations, I would be moving more towards gold. Indeed. Gold has no agenda. It is what it is, and it will continue to be what it will be. It's a very interesting report indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below about this news, these nations selling gold from the reserves, and other nations adding gold to their reserves. What is your mindset as an individual? You've heard me say many times, it is time for us to be our own central bank by accumulating gold. Are you of the mindset that even with the prices where they are at now, high, though they're not certainly not as high as they had been in recent weeks, they're down a little bit today, Are you of a buying mode, or are you of a mindset that you might want to sell, maybe buy silver with it? Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.